The Russian project of the memorandum has not yet been handed over. The work continues. This is a serious project, a project of a serious document. It requires careful analysis and preparation. First, as for the exchange of prisoners, the implementation of the agreements that were reached in Istanbul, it will be continued. We are talking about the implementation of the Istanbul Agreement. As for Donald Trump's statement, he not only criticized Russia, but also personally Putin's president. On the True Social platform, he wrote that he always had good relations with Vladimir Putin, but something happened to him. He completely lost his mind. He in vain kills many people. This is how worried the Kremlin is about Donald Trump's reaction. Of course, the beginning of the negotiation process, for which the American side has made great efforts, is a very important achievement. And we are really grateful to the Americans and personally to President Trump for their assistance in the organization and launch of this negotiation process. This is a very important achievement. Of course, at the same time, this is a very important point, which is related to the emotional overload of absolutely everyone and emotional reactions. We carefully monitor the whole reaction. At the same time, President Putin makes decisions that are necessary to ensure the security of our country. We all witnessed how the Kiev regime threatened foreign leaders on the eve of their arrival in Moscow to celebrate Victory Day. Everyone heard these threats of the Kiev regime, and many leaders who were here, they actually witnessed the attempts of the Kiev regime to strike drones over the territory of the Russian Federation, over large cities, and over the capital on the eve of such an important day. These attempts continue. We are forced to take measures, and President Putin does what he has to do to ensure the security of Russia. Are the last strikes on military facilities in Ukraine the answer to the massive attack on our peaceful facilities? Of course it is. This has already been said more than once. We see how the Ukrainians strike on our facilities, social infrastructure, peaceful infrastructure. This is a retaliatory strike, and a strike on military facilities, on military targets. After all, Putin comes to negotiations with Lavrov. And of course, the main topic of these negotiations will be the discussion of bilateral relations. But of course, the exchange of opinions on the Ukrainian plot will also be necessary. So far, there is no understanding on the continuation of the negotiation process and on the location of the meeting. There is no understanding. We need to prepare for the next round. Therefore, it is too early to talk about this. Of course, we are grateful to the Turkish Republic for these ideal conditions that the Turkish side provided for the Istanbul negotiations. The Financial Times writes that London suspected Russia of being involved in the firing of the Kirov Starmer house. How did the Kremlin react to this? London is inclined to suspect Russia of everything bad that is happening in the UK. As a rule, all these suspicions are groundless, unproven, and often ridiculous.